How you doing?
Yo, what's going on?
Doing good today. Is it raining over there? Sunny?
Yeah. No, no, bro. Surprisingly cold. Although
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
how surprising it is. We're in November. It should be cold at this point.
yeah. It's cold over here, but not windy, so it feels pretty nice. Sometimes the
No,
wind
that's great.
makes it feel colder.
But I swear, yeah, it's like you go outside and it's that cold wind that just like hits you in the face
Yeah.
as soon as you step out of like your nice heated house. You just
You-
get
You're
slapped.
going for the mail, and it gets you.
Man, yeah, bro. It just comes out of nowhere. It's like, now get back inside.
Yeah, that's one thing about Atlanta. I liked that it was cold, but it wasn't as cold as New England. Like when you're over here, yeah, it's freezing cold. Over there, it's pretty nice with a sweater on. You're good.
Yeah. And it's not bad when you find like those pockets of sunshine
Yeah.
and kind of just like, yeah, enjoy a little bit of that chill, but yeah, have that sun just kind of bake you just a little bit.
Yeah, I could remember when we were on set. Sometimes that would happen, and you get like that nice sun, you know,
Yeah,
just a little
man.
bit, and you feel warm for a little bit. So talking
Yeah.
about the movie stuff, quick update on that, right? Because we were talking about this. I think the last podcast that we did, the last episode, the writer's strike is officially they've come to an agreement with the contracts for the writers or whatnot. I just wanted to play a
Yeah.
quick video, real quick. Kind of sums it all up.
Mm.
Let me look for it. All right, here we go.
So the writer's strike is finally over, and I am so happy to tell you that we fucking won. This is the contract that we just spent the last 148 days fighting for, and let me tell you what's in it. A guarantee that a minimum number of writers be hired on every show. A guarantee that comedy variety writers like me be paid the same in streaming as we are in TV. Provisions that mean better pay for screenwriters, better pension and health for writing teams, script fees for staff writers for the first time, and protections against AI that mean that AI can't write scripts, edit scripts, or undermine
Wow.
our rights and credits. And we won a success-based residual. So for the first time, when more people watch a movie or TV show on streaming, the writer that created it will make more money too. These are all things that they swore to us 5 months ago they would never give us in a million years. But we went on strike and we hung together until they were forced to come to the table and meet our demands. And we changed not just our industry for ourselves, but for every writer who comes after us. And I am so proud of us. Thank you
Yeah.
to every writer who made this victory happen. And thank you to every fellow worker who stood with us. We are going to stand with you as well, because what this proves is that when workers stand together, we win. And now, let's get back to writing.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, right?
Yeah. Well, they really came through. And like you said, it was kind of surprising that the
Yeah.
studios actually agreed to their terms. They were able to get everything that they were.
Yeah. I mean, what do
Um,
you think that
and
is?
then,
You think they know the quality of the work is there, obviously, right?
well, that, and honestly, I think it kind of showed in their projections, their earning projections, that the audience that they were trying to go after with this idea that, they're not going to need writers to produce content.
Yeah.
Um, they were essentially telling these studios, no, we don't want that. We actually enjoy real people writing real stories.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, don't don't bring in like AI to come in and take over stuff, because your audience isn't going to like that, and it's going to hurt your bottom line in the long run. And so, yeah, there's big victory for these guys.
Yeah, man. Along with the writers too, the actors, right, were alongside them. I don't think the
Yeah,
actors so much needed well, maybe the AI aspect of things, right? They needed that protection from that. But so maybe that was something else that they were going for, but I haven't heard anything about the actors strike. Any contract, any tentative
so
contracts
here's
or anything.
the thing. Yeah, with the actors, they're actually still on strike.
Oh
They're
wow.
still working out their negotiations. Because yeah, the idea that the studios can just get background actors, background actors are essentially just, I hate to say it, but you go on any film set, background actors are pretty much treated like furniture.
Yeah.
They get moved around and shuffled everywhere they need to, and people don't really think much about them. So, yeah, the studios are still kind of looking at the actors and background actors as just like they can probably be brought in one time, recorded with AI, and never called again. So,
Yeah, and then
yeah,
get paid
sad.
a little bit too. Not even that
Yeah, but
much.
like they're
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah, bro.
unfortunate, man.
It's still a long road ahead to get things to where they should be. Um, because yeah, bro, even once the actors kind of get their deal in order, at
Yeah,
some point we're all starting to look at the entire industry as a whole. We're looking at like the grips, like how are they doing, the
yeah,
gaffers, the PAs, like nobody talks about the PA's life on set.
I know.
Um, and so, you know, it, it's one victory, but it's still a lot more work that needs to be done there.
Yeah, because you said like we're a whole, right? Without one aspect, there's no production, and that comes to remind me of what we went through on set that one time where everyone stood together, right, with that strike. Where it was unfortunate that the film wasn't being, filmed at the time that it was because everyone was getting treated or I don't want to say poorly, but yeah, unfairly, let's say, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a situation where the people in charge knew the crew that they had hired and what they would be able to get away with.
Yeah, so almost like
Um,
taking advantage of the opportunity, right?
yeah, yeah, which, in retrospect, shame on them for
Yeah,
getting a bunch of students and doing what they did. But
yeah,
yeah, it's just the nature of the industry. These people are like essentially encouraged to find these shortcuts and
yeah.
be able to make money wherever they can.
It's almost like a
And
vulture
unfortunately,
mentality, right? Like you feed on the weak,
yeah,
kind of. which is
yeah,
which
bro,
is
that's
wrong
pretty.
if you think about it because we're really the majority here, right? If we stick together.
Yeah,
But if you divide us into like different categories, audio, video, grips, whatever, writers, actors, then that's where the problems lie because everyone's getting paid differently. There's different pay scales for everybody and everything. Even in audio, if you're an A1, you get paid differently than if you're an A2 or just like a
exactly.
A3 or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, but like I usually try and look at things from different perspectives and not necessarily agree with one over another one, but to try and wrap my head around where people are coming from and just kind of thinking like how their uh, studios, like you said, they go in and divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And they're able to keep people separated like this, so they're able to maintain their power in the way that they've been able to for as long as Hollywood has been around.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, bro, I think it's starting to kind of work against them now that we're getting introduced to all this technology, ways we can communicate, um, and just kind of inform each other. Um, to where the mystique and the veil is kind of being lifted now from Hollywood, and we actually see behind the curtain that
Yeah.
yeah, bro, this is these are just people, like they're running businesses, and just like any other business needs their employees to help them maintain.
Hmm.
So is Hollywood, bro. Like an executive can't do everything by themselves.
Yeah.
You're not going to see an executive producer behind the camera or holding a boom mic.
It'll take a long time if someone does it on their own. I mean, alongside with the bigger productions, the smaller productions, it's happening for everybody that's going on right now, whatever's going on. And the pay scale is a little different, right? From Hollywood, let's say like a really big feature film to an independent film. But I think the mentality is still the same. And I think that's where we have to change, right? Where it's like everyone should be treated equally, fairly, with respect on set, because there was a couple incidences that, that I went through on set. I don't want to talk about it on the podcast, but yeah, it's very unfortunate because you think people are going to be professional and then it's a totally different scenario that happens. And you as a professional don't want to, act any differently, right? According to the situation that's happening. But, how much of that can you take really, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly, bro.
How long do you
And
think this is
so,
going to last though? This peace, this moment of peace right now.
I mean, at least until, Hollywood finds a workaround for this stuff. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, these companies, they're out to find loopholes and
Yeah.
workarounds for, any kind of regulation that gets put in place. So I figure, they're going to keep the peace for long enough until they're able to work out some kind of side deal or write some kind of loophole into the rules where
Yeah.
they can take advantage of people again. And assuming that they are smart business owners, they would do that in a very slow and meticulous fashion so that it would take a while for us to realize that they're doing this, they're screwing us over again.
Yeah.
Um, but considering the greed of the people that we have running these studios, it wouldn't surprise me if they just went whole hog and just said, screw it, we don't care what you think. We're just going to go ahead and blatantly go back to our old ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of time. I think the peace will last a short time. Hopefully, it doesn't. But with these big companies just greedy for the money, it's almost like you're hiring someone new because the older employee wanted a raise or something. But then the new person you hire will do double the work for the same pay. So that's the mentality that we live in, where it's like it's all about the money now. It's not about the art form. It's not about the creativity. Because the people putting down the money obviously have more of a say, right, than the people actually working on the films or whatnot. And I don't know. Like it reminds me of the whole Fast and Furious movies, where they keep making the same movie, right? Because it's making like $100 million here and there, but it's not that good, you know.
Yeah,
The movies aren't that good anymore. They used to be about street racing, and I don't know if you've seen the series, but now it's like they're up in space and they're like secret agents, you know?
bro, I'm going to admit something here. I have never watched a Fast and Furious movie.
Oh no.
I can I can imagine like they've gone the Leprechaun route where they've done like the original, they've gone to the hood, now they're in space,
Yeah, pretty much. It's
and
it's it's almost the same. And not that far to that extent, but yeah, fairy tale land. It's really close to that, you know. You might as well be watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory at this point with the movies, you know.
yeah, bro. But I mean, they've realized, this is a formula that works, even if the quality of the movie goes down, from one iteration to the next one.
Yeah.
Like people are going to go out and pay just based off of the name, and so
Yeah, I think it has to do more with the loyalty, the fan base loyalty, right? Because they've been watching it. I've been watching it. Let's say just me since I was like, I don't know, 13, maybe 12. You know, Fast and Furious. So when you're an old man, right, like 30, right, from 12 to 30, you still want to have that loyalty towards it, but the movies suck. They're not as good as they used to be. But yeah,
yeah, bro. So I looked at like all those Friday the 13th movies, pretty much the same. So these are all terrible movies, but
yeah,
just the fact that, it's fun, you know the name, you know what you're getting into. Like you don't mind dropping some money on it. And like I said, these studios know that as well.
I think
Like you
the
throw out,
that the most recent film that I've seen that really hit home for me was Sound of Freedom, man. I don't know if you've seen that film.
mm, yeah, I hadn't seen that one.
It's about child trafficking and how they caught a lot of pedophiles and people who are into that sex trafficking world for trafficking kids or whatnot. And it's actually based on a real story. So
Mm.
it's almost like a documentary biography, you would say,
Yeah.
of this man called Tim Ballard, and he goes out in, I think it's Colombia or something like that, and saves some kids that were being trafficked, like child slavery
Mm.
or for sex or whatnot. I would say probably that one, and I think it came out in the summer. I think it was July. So if you haven't
Okay.
seen
It
it,
was
definitely
a,
check it out. It's a good film.
okay.
But I would say that's the most recent film that I really felt like it had a message that came across. It was powerful. There was a movement behind it where a lot of people that didn't know this was going on. And surprisingly, a lot of people didn't know this was going on. They didn't think this was a real thing. A lot of kids go missing every year in America. Now you can imagine in other countries when disasters strike or whatnot. And I think we were talking about this in like the most recent podcast. I think it was 11 or whatnot. But yeah, man, it happens all over the world. You know, Parents give their kids because the agent comes by and says, "Oh, I think your daughter can be a model, like a little kid model or whatnot." And they come from nothing, so they think this is like the opportunity of a lifetime. But then it turns out it's too good to be true. Then they take the kid, and definitely a good film to
Yeah.
watch, though.
Yeah, it's actually kind of refreshing when you do find these people, these directors and producers that are willing to take a chance on some of these stories.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I know a lot of times people kind of label those things as like Oscar bait,
Mm.
um, because it seems like, they're really more focused on trying to appeal to like a committee of people, rather than just trying to, focus on the story and
Yeah.
actually get a message out there. So yeah, it's coming across those things. I know they come out, but they tend to get like overlooked when you have a lot of these Marvel movies and big time summer blockbuster type films coming out, but
Yeah.
essentially just kind of overpowered.
Yeah. I also heard that now for an Oscar nomination or whatnot, you have to have like certain things have to be in the film. Like there has to be a transgender at least, or someone who's gay, or someone who has a disability, things like that. So it kind of ruins the story too, right? Because if it's a story about, I don't know, a wrestler or something, in order for you to even get nominated or even get, you know, mentioned, you have to have certain criteria in the film. That ruins the art form. I'm thinking, in my opinion, anyway. Like it takes away from the story. Like there doesn't have to be a certain character just because you need to get a nomination too.
Right.
I think that's weird. I
And
don't know.
it, yeah, I feel like a lot of times it falls more on the writer or the person that's coming up with the story to kind of push. Because a lot of times, like, I know people don't know, maybe they do know this, but like when you're making a movie, and you're going through like one of these studios, there is a lot of push from studio executives to do certain things in films.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like, a lot of times you might have your own idea that you want to do, uh, that, you know, is actually fine. You would imagine most audiences would go and watch, your project and be satisfied with what they've seen. But, going through studios, like you said, you have to meet certain criteria.
Yeah.
There has to be some level of pandering going on, because these studios, they're investing in these projects,
Yeah.
and they're looking for some kind of return,
Exactly. Yeah.
and in their eyes, the way to get those returns is to sometimes pander,
Yeah.
and just force stuff into movies that might not belong, have no business in there,
Yep.
but they want to appeal to certain audiences. And they
Yep.
know specific audiences are going to turn out and support, more than others. And those are the ones they want to bring in because, most likely there'll be repeat viewers. They might come in and watch a movie 3, 4, 5 times. I mean,
Yeah,
hell, look at the Star Wars fans.
I
Well,
know. Yeah,
uh, they have all kinds of stuff in there that caters to that group. Um, but they figured out that works because these people come in,
yeah.
you know, multiple times and watch these movies over and over again.
It's almost
And
like
that
a
just
formula, huh? Like they have like their own little formula that they film the movie or the TV show in, and then it clicks. So, oh, this is how many
yeah.
views we can get if we do it this way or whatnot. If we add this person or this type of person in it. Which brings me to another point too. When you remember the Blind Side movie with the football player that he was homeless and stuff like that.
Oh,
So the actual guy that the story was about, he was talking about the movie and he said that it was not as accurate as the film portrayed it to be. Like he was actually smart. He could read. He could write. He wasn't dumb. He wasn't that dumb, you know. Yeah, he was homeless and he came from a bad upbringing, and just the story was not portraying him, the character that they were talking about, correctly. And that bothered me a
mhm.
little bit because it's almost like when they say you Hollywooded or Hollywood the movie, right? Where it's like you don't make it 100% accurate, but you make it based on what people are gonna like, what they're gonna appeal to. Like, oh, they're gonna be sad for the kid because he can't read, he can't write, he's poor, he came from a bad upbringing, and then he overcomes it by being with a rich family that brings him into football or whatnot. And it was just, to me, it was funny because he's talking about the film. They're asking him questions and they're like, yeah, that's not, I think he was tired of hearing it over and over. He's like, yeah, that's not 100% accurate. I could do this. I could read. I could write. And I was like, man, that's wrong, man. That's almost like lying, right? In a film, like you're lying to the people watching it and they feel bad and you make these millions of dollars off a film that's based on lies. Not entirely,
Yeah,
but
not entirely, bro, but it goes to show
yeah.
you, like, Hollywood looks at these things, they look at these stories, and in and of itself, it's a good story.
Yeah.
Like this guy was able to overcome and do some really great things in his life. Um, and he had a good support system around him that was helping him to achieve his goals.
Yeah.
But, Hollywood is looking at it, and like you said, through the lens of these formulas, bro. It's like, no, we need some kind of feel good ending. We want to appeal to, the Caucasian suburban women.
Oh, for sure.
Um, you
100%.
know, yeah, bro. We also want to make sure that we appeal to the black audience
Yeah.
and make this guy more appealing. So, yeah, bro, they throw in all of these factors that are just going to, we're going to work the algorithm. Like, these kids say, you got to work the algorithm, the freaking algorithm.
Yeah.
It's just certain things you have to throw in there in order for it to be profitable in the eyes of Hollywood.
Yeah, and they do pre-screenings as well where it's like a focus group, right? They do that for a lot of films. A lot of films that don't even come out because it didn't do good on the focus group or the pre-screening or whatnot. And that's what it's based on, really. It's not even the art form anymore. I think back then it probably was about that, but now it's based on numbers and how much it can produce, how much it can bring in. You get lucky sometimes with a really good film. That's amazing. It just outshines everything because it's so different. Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Everything, Everywhere, Everyone. Have you seen that?
It's on my list. It's on my list, bro. I've heard nothing but great things about
Yeah, you
that.
have to watch that movie. When I saw that movie, that was another movie that I was like, wow, this is totally different from everything that's going on. It had a little when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It had a little like of an agenda, just a touch. But overall, like after everything that came out and that one came out, I was like, okay, this was probably the best film that I've seen this year. And I watch a lot of movies. I'm a movie guy, so I'm always watching films.
Uh, yes, a lot of times it really would do people good to look towards, like, the smaller studios. Not to say that, large
Yeah,
studios don't come out with good movies. Um, but yeah, like it's really and it's more of a good feeling where when you go to like these smaller studios and you find those gems
yeah,
that they put out where, it's not a lot of heavy-handed executive influence. They actually let the storyteller tell their story.
Yep.
Um, you pair that up with a good cinematographer,
Yeah.
a good director, and yeah, bro, like you can find some really good stuff from some of these smaller art houses.
I think that's where the soul, the heart, the passion is right there because, when you're in a smaller studio in a smaller audio company or whatever the case is, um, the art is still there, the creativity is still there, the passion's still there. And when you get into like big studios like Hollywood, I can only imagine it gets sucked right off. Like what I'm saying. Pause on that one for no more. But you know what I'm saying. Like all that passion it just sucks you dry because you're in this industry where it's like what's gonna make money. It's not a creative aspect anymore. It's gone. It's like the magic's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, bro. And honestly, the few producers that I've talked to here in Atlanta, you sit down and get a few beers in them, yeah, bro, they'll tell you like you see the difference between the film industry here on the East Coast versus the film industry on the West Coast. Like the West
Yeah.
Coast has become very routine. Like it's just another day on the job. Um, and yeah, there's kind of like this soulless feeling. It's like, you punch in, you go to your desk, you read through your scripts that have been sent in. You have your meetings with people that are doing the pitches. You go to your lunch and just like finish out the day, and it's just so routine there.
Yeah.
Versus like on the East Coast, bro, there's still like the sense of magic where people come together. They're more open to just like helping anybody that has like a creative idea that they want to get out there. Um, and it feels like more of an inclusive environment,
Yeah.
um, or at least like it's yeah, it's more inclusive, bro.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I can only imagine, right? Like you there's probably people who are working on set who still have that dream that they want to do their own thing, their own films and stuff like that. And probably on the West Coast, it's almost like everything's so expensive that you're not even
yeah,
thinking about that. You're just thinking about what's the next thing that can make me money. What's the next thing? The next thing. You don't even have time to dream, almost right. Have that creative flow
yeah,
going. It's just like you're a robot, like zombie, like working on set. I could imagine.
yeah, bro. And I mean, I understand the purpose for like having that need for both, because
Yeah,
yeah, as dry and soulless as Hollywood can potentially be, like you need those people that actually understand how the business works and how to navigate through the ins and outs to
yeah,
get stuff done.
yeah,
Um, just as much as they need us on the East Coast to actually bring some ideas to them, and actually get them some content to put up on their platforms. So
yeah. That's
yeah,
another
bro.
thing too. Is like I feel like lately the content, the quality of the content that has been coming out, whether it's a movie or a TV show, it almost feels like deja vu, like it's repetitive. You remember this one time when it was like all that zombie stuff coming out with The Walking Dead, then there was the Fear of the Walking Dead, then was all these like zombie movies. It was like what, like a 10-year run for that, something like that.
Yeah,
How much more zombie stuff can you do, man?
bro. I mean, if there's a desire for it, these people are going to continue pumping this stuff out.
Yeah,
It's like, bro, we had that wave of reality shows.
yeah,
It's like, bro, is Jersey Shore this, Real World that,
yeah.
like Real Housewives?
That's
I was
still
like,
going on too. The Real Housewives.
oh,
Now they
it's
got
yeah,
different
it's just
cities.
like
They got like every city in the United States.
every city, bro.
Real
It's like
Housewives of Atlanta.
there's only so many cities in this country. Like we can only do so
How
much.
many? I thought
But
I thought it was an equal society. There shouldn't be no housewives now and then. What's going on? That should be working.
oh, for real, man. But it's just like it comes in waves.
Yeah,
It really does come in waves, bro. It's like, they realize, things have caught on. And so they want to jump on the bandwagon. And it's like you say,
yeah,
you see all of these zombie shows and stuff coming out. It only takes so much, bro. It's like I got to the point where I got sick of like The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, all that stuff.
yeah. I stopped
Bro,
watching it.
Yeah, I stopped watching that too, bro. I actually started tuning into like, the sci-fi version of that stuff, which, shout out to sci-fi. Like they're not a sponsor for the podcast or anything, but I fucking love the sci-fi stuff,
Yeah.
bro.
You're talking
It's
about
just
the
like,
channel, right? Sci-Fi Channel.
yeah, yeah, bro. Like they put out some of the most corny stuff. The amount of money they spend on their effects, the amount they spend on like the actors. Bro, like some of that stuff, like Sharknado, come on.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. But it's like you can tell they're having fun with that stuff. Like they're not so far up their own ass to where they can't actually enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so, like, you get into these times where like the market is oversaturated with stuff, and you have these, smaller companies and studios that are doing their version that admittedly are not great, but they're fun.
Yeah. I think
It's like,
if smaller companies would hire like at least one good actor for the film, like spend their money on one good actor, I think the movies would be better. It's just since they're not known, the actors, that's where I think they fall. Because the actors aren't
bro,
known, so people aren't gonna watch Smo Joe versus Brad Pitt on screen, you know. So
so I'm guessing, would you say Tara Reid really brought in like the audience for Sharknado? Because I think she was like the number one actress for that movie.
there was another guy, wasn't there? A guy that came out in like 90210 or something like that a long time ago.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
was he
bro,
was a
that
good
guy,
actor for
bro.
that. Forget his
Yeah, I
name.
think he was only there for like the death scene.
But I think these movies are more like parody movies, like Scary Movie and stuff like that. So they're playing off of like all the shark movies that have come out, and they're doing their own twist, which is like a tornado and then all these sharks, which I thought was funny. When you watch the movies, it's a funny film to watch. It's not even scary, unless you're scared of sharks. You have a phobia, but they're just funny, and it takes you away from all the seriousness of like all these like shark movies and things like that. You know, it's I don't know. I saw the first one was funny. He's like, "Oh no, is all those sharks? Is that a tornado?" I'm like, "Oh shoot, here we go." And the graphics suck. You know, they're not great,
Yeah,
but that's what makes it fun.
bro, but
You know,
yeah, exactly, bro. Like they're having fun with it. They know it's a terrible movie, but bro, you're there. You're making a paycheck, so why not enjoy yourself?
there was this movie on Netflix at one time. It was called it was like this karate cop or kung fu cop. What's it called?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about.
uh, I know the one with the Triceratops top
Yeah.
buddy.
I'm trying to look for it. Hold
Oh
on.
man,
uh
it's
Kung
like
Fu something?
Kung
Kung
Fury, bro.
Fury. Yeah, that movie was great. I watched that movie like 3 times, no lie. The part where he's killing all the Nazi dudes. No, that was a unique movie. When I saw that movie, it was if you guys haven't seen it, watch it. It's called Kung Fury, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
bro.
he's like a cop and he time travels. And the graphics are
Yeah,
horrible. It's almost like watching an old school video game movie, like one of those.
yeah,
And
bro.
then he
If
drives
you
like
can
a red
tell,
Ferrari or something like that.
bro, like everybody on that film, they look like they were having so much fun. Like
That was a great film.
I, I'll just say, like without spoiling, for anybody that decides to watch this later, Thor, like why he was even
Oh, Thor!
introduced in the movie. Like there was no reason for it, but just
The
because. Yeah,
little,
just because. Like, yeah, dude had nothing to do that day, I'm sure. They called him up and like, yo, we're filming.
and then he's like, "I
Are you
am
busy?
Thor." It's like, dude, we know who you are. Shoot me. That movie was great though.
Oh,
That was great.
yeah, man.
But that's another parody
Yeah,
movie where it's like they just play off of like a superhero movie, but it's better than any Marvel movie that you've seen. I promise you. Any Marvel movie that you've seen, you watch this movie and you just have a blast watching it, and you want to rewatch it. I've watched it 3 times already. I think I'm on my 4th time now. I think I bought the movie too. I bought the 30-minute
yeah,
film. That's how good it was.
yeah, bro. So I ended up buying the video game for it. They actually did a video game for it, and
Oh,
it's just as over the top as the movie.
Oh, you're gonna have to send me the link for that. I didn't even know that
Oh,
that they had a video game out for it.
yeah, yeah,
Well, for
bro, it's
PC
crazy.
or console.
No, yeah, I got it on console, on PlayStation.
PS4.
Yeah.
Hold up, I got that. I'm gonna go check it out after this. I'm gonna go see if I find it. That's crazy. So, what's the game like? It's like an old school game, kind of like Streets of Rage, kind of.
Kind of, yeah, yeah. Like you can. It looks like it would be something you find on like a Sega or
Oh,
something
that's
like that,
dope.
bro.
I grew up on Sega and Nintendo, so
Yeah,
I
bro.
like it.
But yeah, it's just, bro, and you can tell like a project like that was so low budget,
Yeah,
um,
all green
and
screens
just like
probably.
so dependent, all green screen, bro. But just like the fun that these people were having on set, like you
Yeah,
can tell.
and then the seriousness of
Like,
the main character, like he's really about his business. You know, he's like,
oh
I'll catch the bad guy. Like they call the bad guy bad guys or whatnot. No one can stop me. And then he gets like special powers and stuff. Like, oh shoot,
yeah, bro.
crazy movie, man. They should have made a second one. I would have watched it.
Oh man, but I don't know if you could top like the first one.
Maybe
And I don't
like
know what you would
Kung
do to
Fury
get
goes to
even
hell or
further.
something. That'd be dope
Oh
to
god,
save
it actually
somebody.
fights the devil.
Yeah, who knows? He has
Oh
special
god,
powers, you
bro.
know,
Yeah, or maybe send him to space. That seems like the
with
inevitable
some aliens.
place people end up. Yeah, go fight aliens.
And then the style of the movie too is creative. It was like an '80s theme, kind of like
Hmm.
'80s, right? I would say
Yeah, it was dripping in 80s style.
that was dope, man. That was like maybe one of my like my top 10 right there. That film for sure has to be on that category for me. In terms of like it being unique, creative, the aspect of writing was even great. I think for that type of film, it was fun, man. That film. But yeah, definitely check it out, Kung Fury, and then there's a video game too. I didn't even know. Wow, that's crazy. When did that one come out? The video game, a couple years
Man,
back.
this had to be like, God, had to be like 7, 8 years ago now.
Oh damn! Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
So talking about this, because we really went down the rabbit hole here, the writer strike thing. So the tentative contract that's done. It's an actual contract that they sign, which means the AI aspect is gone. They get paid way more for the how depending on how good the show does, and they get paid royalties, which is great, which is well
That's the
deserved, right?
biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Can you imagine being a
It's
writer
like,
on Friends, right?
oh man.
At this time, at this point, like if they made Friends now, how much money you'd make? Probably as much as the actors, probably, right?
Yeah, yeah, bro. Because I mean, just the residuals alone, you'd be
Yeah.
getting money on a regular basis. You'd be set. I mean, you'd be 100% set.
Yeah, because if you think about it, writers don't make money off merchandise, right? Like, can you imagine all that
Yeah.
merchandise that you're selling? Like the Friends t-shirts, the mugs, all the everything, hats. Man.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that, especially people that are new in the industry, or maybe they've been in the industry for like a few years, but they're still learning. Like a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that, comes along with these projects.
Yeah.
Um, all kinds of like, products, advertising, uh, these writers are talking about like residuals during, showing these shows,
Yeah.
years and years down the line. Uh,
I know, man. How long has Friends been out for? Man, for like what,
oh,
12 years
that
now?
was like back in the 90s, I thought.
What, like 98,
So
right?
it's, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's a
bro.
long time, man. Almost 20 years coming
Yeah,
up, right? A couple, like 4 years,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. It's been that long, bro. And yeah, it's like the things that, people back then probably never thought about 20 years later that they would still be hearing about this show.
I'm just looking up how much Friends has made, like total. Because can you imagine it? Shows that come out now, how much more money they're going to be making.
Yeah, but come to think of it, I'm not even sure if the creators outright sold the show to the studio,
Hmm.
or if they have some kind of a deal that, they were essentially letting the studio lease the project. Like they still have ownership of the creation.
It doesn't
Um,
say, sorry, I'm just looking this up. It doesn't say exactly how much it made, but so it says makes the cast members 20 would make 20 million a year. And I think Friends brings in 1 billion. So I guess it surpassed the 1 billion a while ago. So, man,
yeah, so these studios are doing good just off of that one project.
that's what I'm saying. If you have like that one project you're doing that good off of, and you can't even, there's people, writers who are homeless, like living paycheck to paycheck almost, and they're making that much money. Like that's not fair, bro. When you wrote the show, like
Yeah. Well, again, you have this profit motive, and it's just like make as much money as you can and keep your costs down. Like, well, it's just business. It's American business.
yeah, I'm just glad that they came up with that contract and a deal because now it's gonna be more comfortable for them to be living off of that
Yeah.
and making money off of it too. Because you could think like actors can go into another movie and just keep acting because you're just reading off the script. But for a writer, I don't know if you've ever wrote music or whatnot, like yourself trying to write a song. It doesn't come easy just writing something, even a poem or whatnot. You have to really put thought into it. It takes a lot of hours to do. So I could only imagine a TV show or a film to keep that consistency going, right? In terms of like how many years did Friends go on for? 10 years we were talking about. 10 years of great writing. And then you get paid the like maybe a percentage of that when it should be a bigger percentage that you should be making.
Well, just kind of off of what you said to kind of juxtapose that idea, like writing music, writing poetry.
Yeah.
Like I'm not too sure of many like musicians or writers that would just like sell the rights to their song to a studio. Like there's always some kind of, well, not always, but there should be some kind of deal written in a contract where,
There should be,
you
but
know, yeah, whoever wrote the music still keeps the rights.
yeah, so this is a perfect example. What's going on with Taylor Swift is that she had wrote all her music, right? Everything that she ever did. And I don't know what studio it was that she had the contract with. But so what she did, because they didn't want to give her the masters for her music that she wrote, was she re-recorded the music again and took out the albums again. So now those masters become hers now because she did it off her money, off her studio. Everything was her. So they have all the old songs where she sounds obviously younger, right? Because it was a long time ago. But now the fans that still follow her and are loyal have all the new stuff. So that's where that battle comes into because you want to be in a contract with a record label that is just about the money and about the business and they don't care about the artist, right? Because you're young. You're like what, 15, 16, and you're like, yeah, I got a record deal for $1 million. That's nothing. $1 million is nothing. $1 million goes to, half of that goes to like radio when you're trying to take out a hit single. Then you're thinking about like mixing, mastering, recording fees. Thinking about
Oh
promotion.
God.
How about promotion? Like
Yeah,
you would probably end up
yeah,
with like 50 grand, maybe 20, 30 grand. I'm
yeah.
thinking.
I was saying, then don't you have like your lawyer fees, your
Yeah.
agent fees?
You mostly making all that money back when you go on tour. That's when you make most of that money. If you have a good enough contract where it's like I get some merchandise, royalties, depending on how much you make per CD, per stream, right? It's not fair though, to be honest. If I was an
Yeah,
artist nowadays, I would just be an independent artist and that's where you make most of your money now anyway. You're independent, you back yourself up. I mean, at the beginning it might be a little harder to reach that threshold of like, hey, I'm a new artist, he's actually pretty good, you know, people listen to you, your fan base and stuff. And that's where it is. That's what it is. It's like new artists go to record labels because of that. They want to be famous fast, and they don't want to put in the work. And that's why you have a lot of trash music now. Where you go on the radio, you listen to it, it sounds like crap. Especially the hip hop stuff nowadays. I don't know if you've listened to that lately, but
I try, bro. Like every now and then, I'll turn the radio on to say that I'm trying to find some new music to listen to. Yeah, bro. Like a lot of it just it sounds the same. Like there's nothing necessarily special about it, in my opinion. And yeah,
man.
bro, it's just like this is the same old stuff.
Yeah, I think right now it's like the most I listen to is like gospel music. And sometimes I might listen to like country. It's a little better now than it used to be, where it's like more
Mm.
pop, right? More modern country music. But that's about it, man. Hip hop, I haven't listened to hip hop in like wow, like 5 years now, 6 years now.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, but I mean, it's kind of sad. Uh, because like you look at this like for music artists, like it's a bad situation that they're in these contracts where they have to essentially make their money back by doing these tours, like all the recordings that they do,
yeah,
these albums that they sell, like that essentially means nothing to them. It's great
yeah,
for the studios, but the artists themselves, like all the record sales, that's just like I don't know, it's passive news. Um,
yeah,
so I like, look at that and see like, well, yeah, they shouldn't have to go on tour to make up that money, but they can go on tour to make up that money. I try and figure out like how, writers in like these studios are able to kind of take that model as, you know, inefficient as it is, and just kind of apply that to themselves. Because I mean, once
yeah.
they write a script and once, a studio purchases that script, I mean, yeah, the writer gets a paycheck for selling that one script, but they
Yeah.
can't go on a tour. They can't, like, I don't know if they can recreate that exact same script.
Well, there's
Uh,
there's there's plenty of ways you can do it, but all depends on the position of the writers in, right? Because if you're in a position
right.
where it's like, yo, I'm broke, I got nothing. Oh, here's $1 million. All right, thanks, no problem. You'll take that, right? But if you think about it in a 10-year span, that million could have turned into like 20 million, 30 million. If you would have just
Right.
been a little more patient, took a little less, right? And just take a little risk because you never know what's going to happen, right? But sometimes that doesn't happen. So you end up taking the big
Right.
chunk and then it makes more money and then you feel like some type of way because you sold the rights for like $1 million when you could have leased it for like 50 grand. And then in a span of like 10 years made like 20 million for something.
Well, that's it. You end up like selling a popular idea like The Simpsons, bro. Like
Yeah.
you come up with the idea for The Simpsons and you just, sell it for a flat fee. And you find out what is this like 30 years later? Like it's still going.
But it's all for a paycheck too, because I've heard even for jingles, people who do jingles and stuff for commercials, if a company hires them, they only get paid for the hours that they worked for that jingle. So there's been a
Mhm.
lot of jingles that you hear like are really famous, like for Pizza Hut and stuff like that. I don't know, back in the day. And you'd only get paid for that 8 hours when you could have just worked independently. But for the paycheck, that's where you kind of like, I need money coming in frequently. So you just you take that deal instead. And that's what happens with a lot of writers. They don't get guarantees because that's how I think the studios want to make you feel. Well, it's not a guarantee when they know I'm gonna put this towards promotion. I'm gonna make this show blow up like this. I'm gonna put it on this radio. They already know all the back end stuff that's gonna happen, but you're by yourself, so you're thinking, okay, they got my back. With 50 grand's good. Nah, you could have made way more.
Yeah, bro. And that kind of like goes into the whole discussion about like turning all of these jobs into just gigs. It's like,
Yeah.
we hire you one time, then we don't need you anymore.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
happened to me too, man. I was working for this movie company, and they needed help editing. I think I told you about this too at one point in Atlanta. I'm not going to say the
mhm,
company's name, but they needed help editing, and I worked for 2 weeks, and they made it seem like it was like a legit like position, right? And then it wasn't. It was like a freelance type thing. And they're like, oh, we don't need you anymore. Thanks for your help. And that was it. I got paid for like the 2 weeks, and that was it. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, yeah, I got a job, this and that, but it wasn't. And that's what they do. A lot of companies do that, where it's just like they hire temporary positions just to help out, and then you're cut from the roster, and they'll do it to the next person and the next person just because the kids are hungry. I just came out of my master's school, right, graduate school, where
mhm.
I needed a job, so I was trying to like put my resume everywhere, and that's how they get you, where it's like you're stuck in a position where you can't say no. You have to say yeah to take it because you need to pay bills or whatnot.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate.
exactly. Yeah, it is. And like at some point, I really hope that, people are able to figure out that, yeah, for the short term, it kind of works.
Yeah,
Um, it'll get you to your next meal at least. But it's not a long-term viable solution.
yeah,
And any company that's pushing for it to be a long-term viable solution really should get some pushback.
yeah.
It's not a way to anybody to sustain themselves.
No,
Just
not even
figure
actors
out.
though. If you think about it,
Yeah,
they get. Let's say you make one hit movie. There's been a lot of one hit movie actors out there. Make one hit movie, and then that's it. You have no other gigs coming in. You have smaller gigs coming in. That's why it's important to always think about your future as a writer, as a creative, as an actor. Always think about the next 10 years. Don't just think about the money coming in now. Don't matter. It doesn't matter how broke you are, right? Don't ever sell your rights because that's your creativity coming from your mind. Whatever you write, whatever you've done, always copyright your stuff and lease your stuff out. That's where you're going to make the most money. You're not going to make the most money. Like, yeah, you might make 1 million, but it could have made you 10 times that if you would have waited
yeah,
or leased it out. So that's why copywriting is very important. If you have a script or if you have a song that you wrote, copyright the idea, and then that way you can lease it or sell it, right? And when you do sell it, don't sell it outright where it's like, sell it for percentages, royalties that come in. And that's where you make most of your money right there. Because that song can be out for like 50 years if it's like Mariah Carey's Christmas music or song. Can you imagine that?
uh, yeah. Like a lot of times, and I know it's difficult to do, like actually paying attention to like these big businesses and companies um, that have figured out how to work the system
Yeah,
because they work it against individual people like you and I.
yeah,
Um, and I know it's tedious, but it does like work in people's favor to actually take a little bit of time to understand, you know, how these companies are able to do what they do and the things that they are able to get away with. Uh,
legally too. It's
yeah,
not like it's illegal.
yeah,
It's just you don't know the rules.
yeah.
You don't know what game you're playing. And the way I always see it is like, no, it doesn't matter what I do. You got to think about this. How much money is it gonna bring in? Is it gonna be lucrative later? Because if it is, then you have to get your cut as well for having that part, right? In that film or in that whatever it is, whatever you're working on as a creative, you have to because you have to make sure that your future is secure. Because no one cares if you're living paycheck to paycheck or if you're gonna be homeless or stuff like that. And that's why I think this writer's strike that went on happened. Obviously, they're living like that, but it's good that they got the contract and they got so much positive, you know, so much more positive things out of it, which I didn't even think they were gonna get because a lot of the like the guy said in the video, a lot of the big studios didn't even want to do it. They were saying never in a lifetime that they weren't gonna do it, but they ended up, coming up with a contract that's great for everybody. So, which is important, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. I love seeing when people actually figure out how to stick it to these companies, bro. If you ever want to get them to move or do something, or that bottom line for them, that's always a good way to get them to move.
I'm just wondering, like, what's next? Like I know actors are next, right? That's what's going on. But after that, like,
Hmm.
who else is gonna, revolt? You know?
Bro, we still have to deal with the Teamsters.
Yeah,
All the grips and all those guys, the gaffers, people that are actually hauling apple boxes and picking up
yeah,
C-stands,
yeah.
you know.
And that's essential
Um,
too on the set. If you think about it, you don't
dude,
see
yeah,
all these
I know
little things
most
that
people wouldn't
happen,
realize that.
man.
Yeah, gotta have like a guy to just, run to the truck and bring a box for you to stand on so you look 6 inches taller than you actually are on camera.
Man,
Or, a guy to just bring in a C-stand so we can hang a light on it.
man, you don't even think about
You
this
see,
either. How about makeup artists that do all the makeup for the people on set, or like, can you imagine the makeup artists if they didn't get royalties, they just get paid hourly? Like, they should get paid something for that too, don't you think? For the people that do Marvel and stuff like that, that they take like 20 hours to do like one job. Can you imagine the
yeah,
Grinch? The people who did the Grinch,
but,
like,
oh, yeah, yeah. Jim Carrey was saying it took him hours in the makeup chair to get all that stuff put on. Like, damn it.
yeah, man.
And so, yeah, that's just him sitting in the chair. That's not actually people having to go out and find these, green makeup effects, find like the green hair, the eyes, like all this stuff they have to put together and make believable.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. If there wasn't any good makeup people on that set, it wouldn't have looked that as good as it did. It would have looked fake. You've seen bad makeup
Yeah.
jobs on set where it looks
Oh,
fake,
oh
and you
yeah.
could tell, like on when you see the movie, you could tell it looks fake. The ear or whatever it is, like the wound that they have. So all
Hmm.
these things come to play. It's important, man. Yeah, a lot of people don't think about it, but it is. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm 100% convinced that we're not going to get to the end of this thing
Yeah,
until, like, the production assistants are the ones bringing the last of the line in.
yeah.
Because I know they're going to be the last ones that anybody really considers or thinks about.
Just thinking about it, do you think anything like that for audio would ever happen?
I wonder, just
Yeah,
because audio is such a small department, and a lot of times, bro, like, we're in our own bubble on set.
yeah,
Like, a lot of times people come up to us. We don't necessarily go up to people and start socializing with them. People are typically drawn to the sound.
yeah.
Uh, and so it kind of puts us in our own world where I feel like we're out of the loop in a lot of things.
It feels that way,
It's like,
doesn't it?
yeah, bro, it's like even on our first set, like I didn't know what was going on until I was talking to our on-set photographer,
Oh yeah.
and he was filling me in on the things that were going down, and it was all news to me.
I mean, I think it's different, right? I guess depending if you're a boom or like the A1 on set, because I would just point the mic. I wasn't missing on a thing. I knew exactly what was going on. You know, people talk, man, and they tell you a lot, and I just stay quiet. I just point the mic, stay quiet, listen, just in case anything's going on that you don't know that's happening on set. And I'm pretty sure you could hear it on the headset too that we were both on. So, but I'm just
Yeah,
wondering if there would ever be like a better contract for audio gigs on set or people who are doing audio. I mean,
yeah,
I
bro.
feel
I
like right
feel
now
like
it's pretty
if it
standard.
were, yeah, if anything were to happen, I feel like audio would have to get lumped in with camera department.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because otherwise, yeah, bro, we're such a small department. Um, and for anybody that doesn't know, on set, most times, if you're looking at an audio department, at the very least, there will be one person doing audio on, like, say, a small set, and
Yeah.
usually no more than 4 people in the audio department on like a large set.
You'd have a
Uh,
utility, A2,
yeah,
A1.
yeah, you would have like your utility, your boom, your mixer, and then if a scene is complicated or large enough, you might bring in a second boom operator.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
was a utility one time, and it was just like just grabbing batteries, changing mics, things like that, miking
mhm.
people, making sure that the audio guy was taken care of, because when they're on set, they can't leave. So if they need a
Yeah,
coffee or something, you go get them a coffee. Um, but all those little things help. But I don't think as a creative aspect, right, in audio and on a film, there's no really creative aspect there. You're just kind of pointing and shooting, right? I think the more creative part
yeah,
comes into when it's mixing, when you're doing post, when you're editing, when you're
yeah,
doing sound design. Those are the more creative things, and I think that's probably something that would have to be. There'd have to be better contracts for that, right? Because basically you're just getting
mm,
paid for the job that you're doing. But what if you did the sound for a Jurassic Park dinosaur, or like the Transformers characters? Shouldn't you get paid royalties for that too? You made that happen,
you would think so.
you know?
Yeah, you would think so, because yeah, trying to come up with what does a Tyrannosaurus Rex sound like? I'm pretty sure none of us that are alive today have ever heard the sound of a real Tyrannosaurus Rex.
But can you imagine how much
So
money, if you were a sound guy on that doing sound design, how much money you would have had if you was to lease out that sound instead of just working the hourly rate?
yeah,
Do you think that's
yeah,
fair
like
though,
that.
from your opinion?
If it was worked out that way in the contract, I would say that's at least a good starting point. Um,
Well,
like
hourly?
like well, not hourly, but like definitely work something in to the agreement where, yeah, I put this work in and I made something very iconic.
Yeah.
Uh, you talk to anybody, like anybody that's seen Jurassic Park knows what that T-Rex.
Yeah, that's famous.
Um,
That's like the roar, like like
yeah,
anytime you hear that, you know what
yeah,
that is. Did I sound just like the
yeah.
the T Rex?
I mean, you're pretty close, bro. You're pretty close. I think you had a little bit too much
I
bass
sold
in
it.
your voice.
It's like when you stub your toe or something on the side of the bed. Man. Nah, but that's a good point, because it's like, I guess it depends on the contract, right? What you
Yeah,
signed up for, which is very unfortunate because you don't know if it's going to be iconic at the time. You're just like, oh, it's just
yeah.
a man.
That's the thing, bro. 'Cause, you like to think the guy that came up with the sound effect for the lightsabers in Star Wars or the guns,
Dang.
like, bro, who would have thought?
I mean, man, that's a rough one right there. Because if he didn't get royalties for that, like, I don't know. I at least feel like this: if you're not getting royalties for something, you should at least get, like, if the film makes a big lump sum, either a percentage or a bonus,
Hmm.
right? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel
I
like that
think
should be written
percentages
into
would
all
be
these
great,
things.
though. Not in my opinion, anyway. Man,
Yeah, I feel like that would only be fair, bro. But again, it comes down to, if the executives are willing to let people cut into their profits, which
yeah,
I don't think they would really be missing out on much. You shave off a few percentages
yeah, even
of what.
1%.
Yeah,
Man,
all the content that they have to make billions about is where they can afford what 100 million out of their pocket.
yeah, because people think, right, when you do sound design, it's just like, oh, it's just an elephant. Okay, it could be just an elephant if you're just putting like a regular sound, but if you take your time and actually develop the sound and create it and take hours of work into it, and it's an iconic sound, I think that's when that should be determined. So maybe that's something that should be written in a contract if we're doing sound design, where it's like, if it does become iconic, right, which it makes past this amount of money, then I should get a percentage. And that's probably should be written in a contract somewhere. I'd be
Yeah,
so
yeah,
mad if
because
I did the lightsaber and I didn't get paid extra for that.
bro, yeah,
dude.
and to find out this thing is just blowing up. Like, oh God, yeah, you got guys on the internet like pretending they have lightsabers and dropping in that sound effect that you came up with
And you're not
just
getting paid
to
for
make
it.
sure. Yeah, bro, I'm not making any money.
Man, so maybe that's probably something that'll get into work, maybe, hopefully. But I don't think sound guys think like that, though. Yeah, why not? Why
Yeah,
not think like writers? Why not think like actors like that? Because if anything, an AI could be doing the sound for you too. Soon, it could be taking over that job as well. It's not that far fetched. There, it's already mixing things like
it's
music and
definitely
stuff.
getting to that point, bro. Yeah, although I still feel like sound has some level of power.
Mm.
Um, just because, bro, like people don't think about us until we're not there.
All right, until it's needed, right? Oh, we
Yeah,
need sound. We're always last on set. Sound ready, and then if
exactly.
you're not ready, they yell
Exactly.
like, "Well, then why this dude ready?" It's like, what do you mean? We've been
Yeah,
here for an
bros.
hour.
I was just going over a film with a buddy of mine. We're doing the sound edit the past couple of days, and one of the things I was pointing out to him so important on set was like, the DP, the director of photography, like he's so worried about like how his shot is going to look, like his framing, the lighting,
Yeah,
the colors, all this stuff, and we have to spend 30 minutes making sure that shot looks perfect. We only want to do like two takes, maybe three at the most. Otherwise, we're going to lose sunlight and it's not going to look good, bro. But at no point in time when we were doing any of these takes did anybody notice that there are people talking in the background while we're filming. And
man.
when we're doing our editing, it's coming through. So, yeah, we were able to capture a beautiful image.
Yeah,
And man, these people look great on screen. But there are people that are behind the camera talking in the background.
yeah.
And so that beautiful shot we got, we can't use it.
I mean, you can use it,
And
but
it's
then you
like
got to think about budgeting for like ADR and stuff like that.
between ADR. Yeah,
It's way more
exactly,
money.
bro.
I mean, I guess it depends on the film because if you're willing to pay the extra money. But again, we were talking about this in the other thing. The acting of that scene is not going to be the same if you try to recreate it, the same feel, and
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly, bro. Like these people are probably going to be months away from that last project. They don't
Yeah,
remember what kind of mood they were
no,
in. They got to get back in that same headspace.
yeah,
And yeah, it's not the same feeling. Trying to replace it with what you captured on set, it's not going to be the same. And so yeah, bro, like I said, people don't think about sound until it's like, yeah, now you need us to actually make magic happen.
yeah,
It's like, no, when we were in the moment, like, we try to tell you, bro, don't neglect us. You
yeah,
know, we literally can make or break your project.
yeah. There's been a lot of
Uh,
times where we're working on a project and we're basically cleaning up or polishing up turds, right?
mm,
You're trying to make crap turn into gold or like diamonds, and it's very hard.
yeah,
There's been times,
it really is.
and we
It
do a
really
good job
is.
where it sounds great after. But how many hours have you put into that one line or that one sentence where it could have just been avoided if you have great audio on set? People don't think about
Uh,
that either. So it's important.
oh, yeah. Yeah, but God forbid you ask, a producer, well, did you budget for post audio? Like,
Yeah.
do you have a game plan? Since now we've discovered that there's an airplane flying over this line of dialogue and they can't take it out.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like, nah,
man.
nah, bro.
Yeah, I think
But
the
yeah,
point the point that we're making is like everyone should get paid fairly, and it should be it shouldn't be anybody that's living paycheck to paycheck when you're working on something like that. If you're working on big budget films, I understand independent films is different. You're trying to work your way up, but like big Hollywood films where it's like Transformers or like um, Fast and Furious or whatever. No, man, you should get paid what you're due, be respected, pay wise, on set, be professional. Make sure that you're getting your contracts corrected, where you're getting paid fairly. That's the most important thing, man, because you want to keep working on what you're doing, but you also don't want to worry about like, man, like there's been times even people on set I've heard that they're working on this set and then they have to file for unemployment just to make some money. That's not fair. I don't think anybody should be doing that if you're a professional, you know? And that's why I think the contract should come more into play for everybody: audio, actors, gaffers, makeup artists, everybody. You know?
Yeah, well, I think this is where these strikes are really gonna like they're gonna hopefully make the larger studio entity
Yeah.
just kind of change their tune
Yeah.
and see the whole Hollywood model a little bit differently now. Because yeah, now the writers have gotten their agreement. Yeah, but we need to fix the whole system. Like,
Yeah.
we're still functioning, but there are areas we can make improvements. So, yeah, let's get the actors situated next. Let's figure out what we're doing with the Teamsters, what we're doing with our makeup folks, our wardrobe people, all of our crew. Because if you're going to promote one, you got to do all.
Yeah. And I think that's where we should all stand together. I was for that writer strike and actor strike. I was with them. I maybe wasn't there in person, but during that time I was reading up on things, making sure I was talking about it, making sure I was just up on the latest, just to make sure that they were getting a good contract. And I'm just glad that it came to fruition and they got a good contract, because it's important. That's the most important thing, is doing what you love to do and getting paid well, right? With the ability that you have. And if you can't do anything else, you're just a great writer. Why not get paid accordingly and be able to have a good life and be successful and have your family right? Because that's what it's really about: having your family living comfortably and not worrying about the next day or whatnot. But yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully everything gets straightened out with actors though. And I don't think this is the end of it. I think it's a good start, like you said. Um,
yeah, so I have faith. Thankfully, Fran Drescher is leading the charge for the actors, and oh, she is a firecracker. Uh,
yeah,
Watching her get up there and represent these people has been an inspiration.
yeah, that's
So,
Franny, right, from the show, Fran.
mhm,
Yeah, I
yeah,
saw the
well, so,
videos. She was fired up.
yeah, hopefully she continues to go in there and kick some ass. Because these studios need to get kicking their ass, I feel like.
Yeah, they make way too much money. Like, you shouldn't have like 10 houses, and like people shouldn't be broke like that. That's not. And especially if you're like an exec, right? You have nothing to do with the film. You're just the CEO of the company, where it's like, what are we doing with all this money? Oh, I'll take
Yeah,
75%. You know? It's like, hey, what are you doing, man? I think
yeah,
people
but
don't see
just
that.
bringing
People,
that.
that's the thing with people. They don't see the situation that's going on until they're in that position, or until they're in
Mhm.
filling those shoes, because it's not going to hit you until, like, you don't, let's say this is an example. You don't care about a bum in the street, right? Until you're a bum in the street, right? And then you're like, damn, it's hard doing this. Why am I here though? What situations led me to this? Not everyone's as fortunate as other people to have all this money and to have all this success. And I think people who are in that position should help others that aren't. And that's where that balance comes into play. I don't think you should have more than like a certain amount of money if you're somebody on this earth. We're all the same. Like, you shouldn't be having billions of dollars if there's people starving, is my point.
Yeah.
Or like 6 houses if there's homelessness. Like, if all that was covered and there was no poverty, there was no hunger, people wanting food or homelessness, then fine, make as much money as you want. But if until those things aren't fixed, I don't think it's fair. I think it's wrong. That's not right. My opinion, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. At some point, there needs to be some kind of incentive program or disincentive program to just break this stuff up. Because I mean, yeah, bro, until somebody says like, or we collectively say that,
Yeah,
you know, like, this is not okay,
enough is
then
enough. Yeah,
yeah, bro, like what's discouraging these people from stopping?
right. And we're just talking about the movie industry, the entertainment industry, right? Can you
Mhm.
imagine any other industry that's going on, like fashion or just a thought. You never know,
Yeah,
man. I don't know. It's crazy. It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
crazy
that-
to talk about. It's crazy to think about because for all you know, it could be your friend or something. Like we've worked with a lot of people. You don't know how they're living day to day.
yeah,
You know? You see all
yeah,
this
that's
stuff on
true.
Facebook, maybe social media, but it's not like that's not a realistic world to live in because everyone just posts all the good stuff. They don't ever post like all the negative stuff, all the bad stuff. I mean, some people do, right? But everybody just wants to be like,
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good. And I think sometimes it's
yeah,
okay to be
but
like, yo, I'm not good. I'm struggling, But I don't know.
kind of goes through that, and you do find people that kind of fall into that trap, and it's like they have to put on a show and pose, uh, and everything is fine, boys. It's
Yeah.
like no, it's fine to keep it real, bro. Like I'm thankful that I talk to all the people on set that I do,
Yeah.
talking to like stand-ins and background actors and PAs and locations and crafty, all these people that you don't necessarily think about.
Yeah.
Um, and they'll tell you like, yeah, no, I'm doing okay, but I had a bad week, or I had to have a few words with one of the ads, or I'm stressed out. Like it's actually nice to actually hear realness and not have people just like put on a happy face and make
Yeah.
it seem like everything is okay. Well, bro, keep it real.
Yeah. Like when you ask
Like
somebody, hey, how you
it's
doing? Oh,
okay.
I'm good. It's like real short. Like, are you though? Are you
Yeah,
okay, man? Like, you don't know what people are going through day to day. And that's I guess that's the point we're saying. It's like it should be fair. Everything should be fair. I think if everybody was living better and they had better monetary situation, financial situation, it'd be better for everybody. I think there'd be a lot less negativity out here.
yeah, at the very least, it will make definitely make things on set a little bit more upbeat. Uh,
Yeah.
you feel as bad as like the PA that had to get to set at 3 o'clock in the morning to put the signs up to show where crew parking is,
Yeah. And you don't think about
or
that. You just get on set. You don't think about the person that did that.
yeah,
Man. You think about it, like you think as an audio guy you have it bad, but then you start thinking about all the little things that are happening behind the scenes and it's like, man, pretty rough.
yeah. I've come to learn like audio department usually has it the easiest on set. Like,
Don't say that, man. No, sure.
uh, sorry, I'm sharing a little bit behind the curtain.
No, it's true. I feel like we do though. I feel like it's I think it comes easy if you know what you're doing, right?
Mm,
And I think for us it
for
was
sure.
easy us working together because we have a good relationship where it's like we don't bump heads. We've never argued on set. I don't think we've ever had an argument. We're always very professional with each other. We know what we're doing. We ask a lot of questions. We make sure that we're both good. And I think it's the team that you're working with as well, because I've worked with other audio guys that it wasn't as good, and the chemistry wasn't there, and we bumped heads. A lot of the times I'd have to tell people like, "Hey, listen, don't talk to me like this, or treat me with respect." Like kind of talking to them like a professional, right? Because you're on set and stuff, and you don't want to like start any drama, but you have to let people know this is the line that you shouldn't cross when it comes to,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah, but for the most part, like, like I was saying earlier, we're in our own bubble.
Yeah,
We talk to each other if we're not working. Uh, we goof around and we have our jokes. Or our sound jokes that we tell each other.
She farted over there. I
Uh,
caught her on the microphone.
yeah, right. Just like walk up to you and just like fart into the microphone,
I
see
heard
what you
that.
say.
You see that Spanish dude with the mustache over there? He looked kind of weird. Hey, I heard that over there. Hey, yo, you'd hear so much stuff though. People talking about other people. I'm like, damn, you just like turn over the mic. This one's talking about this one's like, yo, what's up with y'all, man?
Yes, yeah, a lot of conversations, bro.
But it's
A
just
lot of
talking. I don't think it's like anything super like real that's gonna happen. It's just like people have their opinions, you know, and they just say what they say.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah, bro. I mean, yeah, like it's we're pretty chill on set. Like,
Yeah,
we know when to show up. We know what we have to do once we get there. We know if we have people we need to throw a microphone on.
yeah,
Like, we do our thing and then we go and hang out and chill.
yeah,
Compared to like, the guys that have to, like you were saying, the people that have to be there at like 3 in the morning to put signs out to show what free parking is.
yeah, and make sure
Or,
like you have
they're out there,
food, right?
like,
You know.
yeah, like setting up food tables and putting up tents and
Yeah,
handing out, small scripts for us to keep up with for the day.
yeah,
Uh, all these things that sound doesn't have to worry about. We just have to listen and make sure you don't say anything crazy. We go home for the day.
yeah. At the end of the day, that's something I always say. Everyone's trying to make it somehow, some way. I'm not saying trying to make it in a way where it's like, I want to be famous, but just trying to make it through the day is what I'm saying. Everyone's just trying to make it
Hmm.
somehow, some way where it's like, I just want to make it through this day, make sure that I'm good, there's peace, and I'm not going through any altercations, and that's it. That's success for a lot of people nowadays, you know? It's not like I'm a billionaire and this and that, even though some people do think like that, but I don't know. It's the small things that matter. And I think we see that a lot on set too, you know? We don't think about it, but when you do think about it, you think back and say, oh, that was helpful. Having those snacks on set, or like that was helpful having the gaff to gag bring me a box to sit on, or like, you know? But yeah, man.
Yeah, bro.
It's just a start. I hope that it keeps going with this contracts, and I hope that everybody gets paid what they're due and what they deserve at the end of the day. And I think we all deserve, we all deserve to get paid respectfully, and not like chub change, or you can't live off of.
For,
But
for
yeah, I mean,
sure, bro.
actors are next, and then I don't know. We'll see what happens. I guess we'll keep the update going, right? And I'm pretty sure we'll
Yeah,
have you back again talking about it a little more, or whatnot.
yeah, bro. Definitely crossing our fingers that we don't go into the new year with
Yeah,
people still on strike.
yeah, I know.
Uh,
Like the
uh,
holidays on strike. Can you imagine like not being able to work or not knowing if you're gonna work in the next year? Like,
bro, so I'm just picturing, all of the Hallmark movies and all of the Lifetime movies you're gonna have to watch on repeat now because they're not making any new movies.
yeah, or like real time reality shows or whatever.
Oh, dude, yeah, having to watch season one of Real Housewives all over again. Yeah, I got past the first time I watched it. I don't need to rewatch it again.
I was watching 90 Day Fiance at one point. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen a
Juicy
few
drama.
episodes of that one. I don't know how people put themselves through that.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I just watch it because to me, I don't understand how people can actually do that. You know? Yeah, maybe it's love. Maybe, man, love.
Maybe,
There's a lot of people in
maybe
the
it's
United
just,
States, though. You don't have to.
yeah. I mean, it also could just be an easy way to get a booty call.
Yeah,
You got
maybe.
the
Yeah,
studio setting it up for you.
yeah. If you think about it, man, other people from other countries maybe want a better life, so that's why they do it. You know. But I did
Yeah,
forget to
bro.
mention this too. I think it's important for people to learn from what's going on right now, so that it continues from generation to generation. And people who are upcoming, right, in this industry, who are just trying to make a buck and just trying to make a, uh, you know, make it quick. Don't do that. Go through the process. It's important to go through the process because that way you won't mess up things for everybody else who's worked so hard to get to where we're at. Because you could take somebody's job as a writer just because you got paid, you're getting paid more at this point, right? Just straight off the bat. But if you was to take the proper steps, you get paid way more. So just think about the future of the industry. Think about the future of yourself, and don't just think in a greedy manner and selfish where it's like I'm looking out for me. Because at the end of the day, we're all together in this. You know, audio can't work if video's not there. Video can't work if the director or the producers aren't there. And it just goes hand in hand. It's not just about you or your department. And if we all keep that mindset, I think the industry will move forward in a better way, more positive, and yeah. But we just got to think all together collectively, like you said. That was a really good point. But I just wanted to mention that because I meant to say it earlier. But for the new people who are coming in, always keep that in mind because we worked hard to where we're at, to where we got right now. So don't mess that up for everybody.
100%, boy.
But yeah, I mean, it's been about an hour. It definitely was a good podcast. Is there anything else you want to add to this episode or this conversation?
Just everybody keep an eye on what's going on in Hollywood, what's going on in the various parts of the country where Hollywood is being represented.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep cheering us on. You know, we're gonna keep fighting.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And I think also, I wanted to ask you this too. How is it going in Atlanta in terms of like the movie and the production and stuff? It's not being Hollywood at all, or is it leaning towards more to that, or what's going on there? Because I think that's very important for Hollywood not to migrate into other places that the movie industry is trying to bloom and flourish, you know?
Yeah, so yeah, no, thankfully Hollywood is not necessarily coming over and, you know, like taking over Atlanta.
Yeah.
But Atlanta is a major production hub.
That's good.
So there are a lot of sets
Yeah.
happening in the city.
Independent
around the
and
city.
studio, right? Both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, with these strikes going on, it really is coming down on the actors. Yeah, the actors that are here in Atlanta, you know, they do like small independent projects, but in order to do like larger studio sets, there has to be special contracts drawn up for them to actually work.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so there are a few studios that have agreed. I think A24 was one of the studios that agreed to the terms of the writers and the actors, maybe just the writers. But yeah, as it stands right now, the only way that actors are able to actually go and do these projects is to get special contracts going that allow them to go and do these sets. But yeah, in the larger picture, yeah, people are still out of work. You know, production is still on hold
because of the strike, right? It's hitting there too, right? Man, because
yeah,
everyone's united.
yeah,
Really, it's a whole union, right?
yeah, bro. They're serious about staying in solidarity with this thing, and so
Yeah, wow.
you know, yeah, but if and like they got a good foothold, bro. Like they're in a good position because
That's
look
good.
at it, AI is not advanced to the point yet where they can recreate all of these actors to replace everybody in all of their movies and projects. And so
It
you
should
know the
never get
actors
like
can
that,
stay.
though. I don't think
It really should.
it
It
should only
should.
get like that, though. Not to that extent, but like there's some films where their actor needs to be young because it was a flashback or something. That's where I feel like it should be used, but not in terms of like the longevity career wise of an actor or something. I think that these certain slots should be opened for another actor to come in and make their mark, right, in this industry.
Yeah, bro. And I mean, as long as they are able to come in and just like, you know, do the things that are basic step beyond
Yeah.
what an AI can do, then you know they still have some leverage in this fight. Um, So yeah, until the studios come up with, some better technology, or, go over to Silicon Valley and figure something out with the tech guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like the actors still have some leverage to make stuff happen in their favor.
that's good, man. The ball is pretty much on their court, and it should stay there as long as it can. And remember, if you stand together collectively, um, we all win. So we can't lose that way. I'm just glad that everyone's sticking together, because if something happens in California, it's happening in Atlanta, it's happening in New York, wherever the riders are or whatnot. And it sucks that there's not a lot of production going on, but for the future of this industry, it's important that it happens now. It's important that it's fixed now, because then later it'll be that much better. And you'll enjoy the content that much better knowing that everyone's getting their fair justice, right, when it comes to that. So,
Yeah, but the hope is that doing it this way, the way that the actors and the writers are doing it, and making it public for audiences to understand as well,
yeah.
that it's not falling on the actor's shoulders. It's not falling on the writer's shoulders. It's falling on the studio executive shoulders. Like, they're the ones that are saying that no, like, we don't want to hire writers full time.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep actors around for the long term. We just want their image, and we let AI do the rest. Like, as long as the actors and the writers and all these people are doing it in this way and putting the spotlight on the people at the top, the decision makers, I feel like this will be. I'm hoping this will be a lasting change.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I think, like you're saying, like evolution, right? In terms of something evolving into something more beautiful, I think it's good for some things, right? But when it comes to people's like livelihood, you don't mess with that,
hmm,
because that's something that it's almost like when you feel like you're born to do something. That's your passion. That's what you love to do. That's what drives you every day, right? How would society be if all these jobs were taken away and it was just AI? You know,
yeah,
it would not be good. Creatively, it would not be good. You're taking away art forms. You're taking away, because even someone who's working a camera, that's an art form. When you see that, when you see them zooming out, or how sometimes they zoom on, they zoom out to the next person, and like that's art. That's it's a beautiful thing when you see it on screen, right? And someone's
yeah,
creating that art, even audio wise, like us recording, making sure the levels are right on set. Then you do it on post. That's art, man. You do a sound for a dinosaur. That's art. Can you imagine if all that was just generated? Like, this is what it's gonna sound like, and it's not creatively what you intended it to sound like, or what you even wanted to hear on a TV show or in a movie. It would be
yeah,
kind of dry. There wouldn't be any depth to that.
yeah. And I
So
think a lot of people realize there's only so much you can automate
yeah,
and use computers to create.
yeah,
Um, at some point, there needs to be a human touch.
yeah. It's
So
good. It's
yeah,
good when it helps, but it's not good when it takes over. It could be a
mhm,
helpful tool, no problem. It could help you mix. It could
yeah,
help you even do better camera angles, things like that. Whatever, writing a little better, give you ideas, but it should not take over any position, any job.
oh yeah. But I
And I
mean,
hope that
even
it
now,
doesn't in the
like,
future either, because that'd be a very sad thing that would happen.
yeah, I mean, like, I I enjoy the level of AI that we use right now. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm pretty sure there aren't too many people out here that would say, they don't benefit from using like Siri,
yeah,
or, Google Voice, or any of these programs where you just like talk into your phone and you get a response. Like, these things go out, scrub the internet for you, and give you an answer to whatever question
yeah.
you might have.
Like, even on a
So,
TV remote, you could be like, "Hey Alexa, put the volume up," or like put YouTube on or something, and it opens it up for you. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And
kind of
so,
lazy,
like,
but I mean, it helps. It's helpful.
it's helpful tools, and I feel like as long as people keep that in their field of vision,
Yeah,
I think we'll be fine. But the moment that they try and, just outright replace a human being with a full-blown AI, then, yeah, you start getting into muddy waters at that point.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. There's a lot of things that are being replaced right now with AI. Like even jobs like fast food places, like you were saying, I think the other podcast, fast food places. You go to the supermarkets, like there's no one there. Maybe jobs like that, maybe it's okay. But you ever think about someone who's just got out of high school and wants to get their foot in the door and to just make a little money on the side or whatnot? Growing up, I was excited to be a cash register, you know, or anything, a bag boy or something, just so I can have that money growing up. But nowadays, like if you think about it, all these young kids aren't even working jobs like that anymore because of that, right? Maybe not because of
Yeah,
that, but it kind of seems like it is. They're being more influencers, or they want to be gamers, or they want to be on YouTube or like streaming, which is fine. You can do all that stuff. Some people do make a lot of money, but there's a different like aspect, right? When you're working at a job and there's responsibility, right? You have to be there on time. You have to be reliable. You have to be respectful towards others. There's a social, aspect to it too, where you have to be social with people, like talk to people, be helpful with people. A lot of kids nowadays don't have those uh, abilities, those like, you know, it's not there anymore. It's all like,
yeah,
I want to be by myself. I want to stream, go on YouTube. I don't know. I think all that's being lost. And I don't mean to sound old, but I know that growing up, all that was important to me because when you're in a job now, you think back and like you think on all these things that you went through working on all these jobs, and you actually appreciate what you do now. You know, you appreciate that you went through all these things because it's a learning tool. A lot of these kids don't have that anymore. They're not really learning those social cues and responsibilities. I don't know.
yeah.
It's just it's something to think about. Think about what's gonna happen in like 10 years if there's nothing like that around anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I'm already kind of picturing like a few decades in the future where AI has become even more advanced than it is now.
Man, can you
Like,
imagine if it goes
you
into
know,
like nursing or like doctors or like
yeah,
you know?
bro, it's like the amount of responsibilities that's going to fall off of people's shoulders. Like, I guess in one aspect, that's great. They'll have more time to focus on other things they can do in their lives. But like you're saying, bro, there's going to be a lot of stuff that people are not going to get anymore.
Yeah,
Just like the sense of responsibility, the social aspect of
yeah.
things.
It's already
Uh,
happening already. Like, you know, you see
yeah,
it. Sometimes you see it. Like you
bro.
talk to young kids and you can't even relate to anything.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, bro. It's crazy. Uh, but that seems to be the direction that the majority of folks want to go in.
Yeah.
Because nobody seems to really be, encouraging us to pump the brakes. Or at
No.
least if they are, they're saying it very quietly.
Yeah, for the most part, you see like in the grocery stores and like fast food places, it's a lot of older people now working those jobs.
Mhm.
Where it used to be a lot of younger people working those jobs, and you know, I remember working at Target in college. Nowadays, you don't even see people like that anymore. It's just like one person might be standing there just making sure that all the registers are covered, right? With the AI and people coming in and out, whatever.
Mhm.
Self checkouts. I don't know. Pretty interesting stuff though. It's kind of good and kind of bad because you think about it, it could be used for good, but I feel like it's being used for to make the society more lazy, not really productive. Then they're trying to take the creative aspect away from it now, which is like it's kind of makes you think. If you're lazy with no creativity going on, what are you gonna be? It's like a robot, right? It's just a
Yeah,
whole world full of uh, robots, and AI robots. Uh, robotic society, right?
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if this is even going to encourage people to go into the trade industries of, getting more mechanics and welders and
Right.
carpenters, stuff like that.
Like more
Because
hands-on work.
yeah, like I imagine like those type of jobs will still require human beings to come in and do stuff. Like I can't. Maybe I can see like an AI being in control of like HVAC systems. Even that, I don't know.
I mean, I've seen
Are you,
houses that are built by a robot where it's
hmm,
cement and they just pour it and they keep pouring the foundation and they've made houses out of cement that way.
well,
So even that industry is
yes,
being taken over.
I don't even know. Like maybe I can see that as something for the younger generations to start focusing on. Like if these service jobs aren't available anymore,
Yeah.
well, start pushing them into technology. Figure out how to keep these programs and these new processes in check.
Yeah. I mean,
Because I know old people aren't going to want to get into those fields. So that's
yeah.
hopefully potentially something that the younger generation will want to take over.
Have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
No.
I'm gonna send you a link to it, but basically it's in the future. Like, so the movie starts off where it's like it's nowadays, and they send a regular, uh, like a regular IQ guy into the future and a regular IQ lady to the future. But it starts off with people are getting dumber because the smarter people don't want to have kids. So it's just a world full of dumb people, and it just becomes like an AI society, and then they wake up in the future, and these regular people that are just like regularly smart are the smartest two people on Earth.
Bro, was that the movie? That was not Owen Wilson.
Luke,
His Luke Wilson, brother. Yeah. I
yeah,
remember that movie, bro. I never sat down and watched it from start to finish.
you gotta watch it. It's
But like I will
basically, I
see
feel
like
like that's
bits
what's
and
gonna happen. You know?
I can believe it, bro. Like you're saying, like people are just slowly getting dumber.
Yeah, and
Like
they
it feels
just
like
want to be more secluded
reality
too.
is moving in that direction.
Yeah, they want to be with the VRs and on the TVs all the time, on their phones all the time. Feel like they're getting lazier. The creative aspect, it's it's like it's there, but it's trying to be taken away. They want to slowly take it away. So just got to be aware of that stuff.
Bro, I'm curious. I have a question for you. Like, have you tried VR yet? Because
I
I
have,
feel
yeah.
like I've had maybe two opportunities. Bro, what do you think? Is that something we are kind of slowly turning into a Ready Player One situation where
Oh,
everybody's just like stuck in VR?
definitely. I think so. I think if people use it more as a video game, where it's like you set yourself amount of hours that you're gonna play, it's fine. It's fun to play. But if you're just stuck in that world where it's like how Meta's trying to do now, where you're just stuck in a world, it's a VR world, and you like there's even people out there now that live in a VR apartment where it's like a penthouse or a suite and stuff like that, but they just live in a car like a little apartment, you know. So they're living in this like VR world, but they're actually in like a I don't know 8 by 8 apartment, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It sounds depressing.
It is because I don't think people want to deal with the realities of the world nowadays. They want to live in like this other world where it's not realistic. It's like it's fake. They want to live in like this fake world, you know? And I think it's fun. It's all fun. Like if you go like I play video games to get away sometimes to get my mind off things and things like that. But if you're constantly in
Mhm.
that state where you want to get away, uh, there's other things there. I think you're dealing with other
Yeah,
things there, like
that kind
mentally
of
and
speaks to the larger situation.
yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
something that people don't want to admit. I think that I think it's a pandemic to be honest with things going on like this because you don't want to deal with the reality of like, hey, it's okay, you're struggling, work hard and get out of the situation and keep moving forward and maybe you'll be successful, but they just want to be stuck in this like, nope, I'm successful already in my head, and you're not. People don't want to work hard anymore; they just want the easy route. So I think that's what's going on. They're really stuck in their heads and they're living in this fake world. I don't think Meta's making things better. My opinion, I think it could be used for good, that metaverse, right? Because I've seen a basketball game where you actually can watch a basketball game and you're sitting courtside, which isn't a cool experience if you've never done it, right? And you're actually watching the game courtside. But if you're just constantly in that state of mind where it's like I'm living in a fake world, I don't know. Might as well not even be around, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. But a lot of people are living like that nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I just hope that there are some safeguards put in place to keep people from sinking too deep into that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think there are. And I think that's the problem. And Elon Musk is one that said AI is good, but I think they should have guidelines for it. I don't think it should be roaming free and wild. It's like the wild, wild west right now, where it's like it could do anything and everything. And it's like, I don't think people understand the consequences of what it actually does and what it actually is doing to people's mental health and things like that. Because it can be fun. Like it can. I've had experiences with VR where it's like you jump off of this like you go up an elevator and you're in the city, a skyline, and you jump off of this jump board. What's it called? What are those jump up boards for the pool? What are they called?
Oh, like the diving board.
Diving board, yeah. And you dive off of the city and you're just falling, free falling. And it feels real. I was scared because what your eyes see is what you're seeing. So I'm like, oh shoot, I'm gonna fall. And I was falling, I was yelling, I was like, ah. And then you just hit the bottom and nothing happens. But it feels real. So I think people like that rush. It's addicting. It's an addictive feeling to be in that world. And I think that's what people like. So
I guess I could see that.
don't get too deep into it. If you do VR, Henry, just do it for fun, man.
Yeah.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
That's what it is,
Bro,
though. That's the new drug. That's what cocaine is now. It's like being in that world, the VR stuff. It's crazy for these young kids. I think.
you have to listen. Like, if you ever come in and find me with like the VR headset on, like my toenails and my fingernails all, and my beard way down here, bro, you have permission to slap the hell out of me.
I'll just throw you down the stairs. I'm like, that feel real enough for you? Break a bone or something. Like, ah.
It's like it really happened.
Really happened, man. Get up.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, it's definitely interesting to think about. I don't like getting too deep into it because I feel like it's a little depressing because it can be fun. I'm a video game guy and I love to have fun with video games, but the way that all this stuff is happening, it's happening way too fast, I think. Like way too fast. It's all connected together and like, I don't know. I wonder about the future of this country sometimes and where it's headed, because AI can be a helpful tool, but it just seems like it's not being used for good. You know, there's more there. It's being used more for like maybe slightly good than bad, but I don't know. I don't think that's the agenda with the AI. I think it's something else, you know.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, man, definitely a good podcast. Man, let's end on a little lighter note. So I know we were talking about movies. What's your favorite movie genre of all time?
Of all time,
Yeah,
bro, I always go back to horror movies just because I feel like maybe it's because the way I was introduced to them as a kid was probably not the best way. Um, I think I told this on the last
like
podcast.
Chucky or
The
something.
very first horror movie I went to see with one of my aunts was Child's Play 2. I
Okay.
was in elementary school, and it was terrifying because at the time they had those My Buddy dolls out with like the Cabbage
Yeah.
Patch Kids and all these other like different dolls that were like really popular at the time. Uh, and yeah, uh, to be introduced to like this murderous doll as a kid the horror genre has really stuck with me. And so that, yeah, that's usually what I will go back to if I just need some comfort media to watch.
I think back then horror films were different than they are now, though. Like horror films back then were less scary, right? I
Mm.
think so. In
Yeah.
my opinion,
Uh,
Leprechaun, it was like pretty funny. It wasn't that scary. Like as a kid, it might have been scary. Like Child's Play was
yeah.
scary, but it's just a doll if you really think about it.
Right.
Oh
Uh,
man,
I think it was more so. It was less bloody and over the top, compared to the stuff that they release now.
yeah. Maybe it was because the time of the
That's
effects, like the age of the effects, weren't there. Like the blood
I
and all
feel
that.
like it's not only that, but I partly blame Mortal Kombat for introducing us into this new era
Oh
of
yeah,
horror gore.
yeah. And Saw too. So those
Because
were pretty
yeah,
bad. The Saw secret series where they were cutting
hmm
their limbs off and stuff like that.
yeah, bro. Yeah, definitely the stuff back in the 80s, 80s horror is usually where I go, just because it's not necessarily over the top. A lot of times, it's really can't be. It's silly.
Yeah,
Uh, you might get scared every now and then, but most likely you're going to get a good laugh out of it.
yeah. And I think once it crosses over to like that paranormal aspect of things, that's when it gets a little more scary because I'm very spiritual and I believe like all that stuff is real. So that's something that could really happen. But like a doll or like a little leprechaun, that's like a fake. But as a kid, even I was scared though. I remember I was scared of the little
Yeah,
Chucky dolls and stuff like that. But then you grow up and it's like, you're more scared of other things like I don't know, like paranormal stuff or like something that could really happen, like a psycho killer coming after you in the house or
yeah.
like
Like, it's probably more likely you're going to see some weirdo standing outside of your window,
yeah,
like looking at you undressed, as opposed to, some undead zombie with a hockey mask and a machete.
right, man. Well, that's good. I mean, I didn't know that about you though. I didn't know that it was horror. So maybe that's why you like
Yeah,
that trailer that we did a lot, huh?
bro.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see that.
that one I still will brag about that one. I watched that one on repeat actually.
Yeah, it
Like
it was really good.
you would laugh at. It really was good. Like I've used that trailer as just like my sound test when I'm setting up for shows and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, bro, just because it was so well put together. But yeah, bro, it really did hit home for me. Just having those little scary bits put together.
we definitely got
Uh,
to work on another one soon together.
and just like, yeah, showing all. Oh yeah, yeah, bro. Uh, God, I know we need to put one together. This documentary that we got coming up.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, these people are asking for us to put together another trailer for them. Um, so I know that's something we have to work on. But yeah, bro, it's really fun. And to be able to show it off to people after we got it done. Like,
yeah.
people are so impressed with it.
That's great, man. Because I remember seeing the rough cut, like when I did I think I did like a little rough cut to it, and then you really took it in like I was like, wow. After, because I had
Bro,
all the extra scenes on there, the extra like the bloody words on there too. It was a good touch.
it
That's
really
cool.
was a team effort. Because, I mean, honestly, that music was perfect. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you got that down, but that was a perfect choice.
Well, I mean, I kind of went
Um,
off of the theme of like when someone's running, it's almost like you're running out of time because someone's gonna kill you. So I added
mhm.
that aspect to it with like a little like little bangs here and there, like zaps, like almost like old school Friday the 13th kind of.
Well, yeah, it worked out so perfectly. And then like the footage, it was
Yeah,
so funny. The footage that we had. If anybody does have a chance to actually take a look at the trailer, like
I'll put
not
the
all of
trailer
the
at the
footage
end.
was for. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll post it up. Because yeah, not all of the footage that we used was from horror movies,
No,
but I think just we had the right scenes to go with that music
Yeah.
to where it worked out so well. Um, and then like having one of our friends do the graphics for it, to put the grain filter over it and then redo the text.
Yep.
Bro, it was just such a team effort that came together so well.
Yeah, man, it was great. Yeah, I watched that thing like 20 times in a row when I saw it. Something you're proud of when you work on it and it comes out good because there's like a collaborative effort to it, you know. So,
Heck yeah.
but yeah, guys,
Heck yeah.
this was a great podcast. Thank you for watching. Henry, thank you for being on the podcast. Like I said, whenever you want to come back, man, and we could talk about other topics. But I'll definitely
bro.
I'll be putting the trailer on after this. But yeah, again, guys, thanks for watching. Have a blessed day. Peace.